conversation just for all of us so that we have it.
Okay, basically we schedule a meeting to go over what's going on over here and to see future, the next steps. What we're going to, what I'm going to take over here. So basically, it's not everything's up to me. It's up to the owners.
Sure.
It's not up to me. So basically.
Want to bring me up to date?
Do you not have all the information already?
No.
You don't know anything about what's going on. Okay. I figured Jacob would have at least told you something.
I just said some things, but I'm not exactly taking everything at the film yet.
Okay. Since we've moved in, we've had problems with smoke coming into the apartment.
What do you call a problem with smoke?
Smoke entering the apartment from other tenants. Okay? That's one. On top of the lease being improper in just about every way for multiple reasons. I can enumerate them, but I'd rather just get through everything. On top of security deposits that were taken that were far too high, which is illegal. So those are overcharges. The damages that we're seeking are all pretty cut and dry, pretty clear. The law is explicitly clear about things like this. There's plenty of case law to support it. We've been incredibly patient in dealing with management over the last over a year, and nothing's gotten done. We had microecologies come and do a reading in the apartment. They won't even share the results. They claim one thing and then claim another. Mayor told us one thing, said that they did detect smoke, then went back and said nothing, but they won't share the results with anybody. So there's no way to know for sure. We've tried to deal with it for over a year now, and nobody's willing to cooperate. So,
what's your game plan?
What's the game plan?
Yeah.
We've already taken it to court. We have a number that we've asked for in terms of a settlement. We'd be happy to take. We've asked 12 months, starting from now.
Who's we?
My girlfriend and I. She lives in the apartment as well.
Is she on the lease still?
I'm sorry?
Is she on the lease still?
Yes.
Then maybe she should be here, shouldn't she?
She should, but it is the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. So it was difficult to get here at the time that you guys needed because initially Jacob said 1 o'clock, and it's now almost 3. So she wasn't able to make it.
Do you have a job?
Do I? Yeah, of course. What difference does that make?
I'm just asking.
Sure. So that's the game plan. I mean, Jacob's got all the information. Have you spoken to Scott at all, the lawyer?
Yeah, I'll fill you in exactly where we are.
Sure.
Okay? These amateurs are doing what they do right now. They'll be out of here. Okay? That was one mistake we did, was letting them do what they do.
Okay.
And one of them is getting Scott's girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When I'm back in here, this kind of bullshit has no place. I will submit to you that you can ride the system for a while. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there's enough case law to support that, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, you will fail. As has everybody else that we had a case with.
Mm-hmm.
In the years, many, many years, and long list of buildings that we own and operate.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a short win, you may hang out for free for a while. Ultimately, you're going to look just like the New York Times editor and a whole bunch of other people that moved on from your stage to becoming successful, but still had that shit on their back to come down once they have a mortgage somewhere in the States, and we run after them.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, your chances of prevailing is 0.
Right. So I'm not terribly interested in sitting here and getting bullied into backing down.
Neither am I.
I'm standing up for my rights as a tenant in New York State.
You have rights and you have everything. The one thing
Sure.
you should know is I have more time and deeper pockets.
More money, of course you do. And this happens all the time. This is the same thing that happens with patent law, all kinds of stuff.
Even if you will prevail, I will take you to appeals court. It has been done, and I will drain your resources into losing.
So are you sitting here threatening me, or
I'm not threatening you? I'm forecasting, so you know what you're getting yourself into.
I mean, it sounds like a
this
threat.
May sound like, well, if I think I'm going to sue you into losing, I want to tell you that.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why I'm telling you. Down the road, you're going to be the one coming, how can we work this out? I guarantee you. Remember what I'm telling you now. There won't be any negotiation.
Like I said, I'm not interested in sitting here and being
no
threatened.
problem. I have this thing, whenever I do, before I start what I do, I take my chance, I say what I have to say. You are an adult, right?
Sure.
So you get to choose what you want to do. Do you want to play this game, or you don't want to play this game? I'll have to cover my weekend expenses, I guarantee you, for a long time to come.
I imagine you do.
I will put you on the list with a few other people that choose to go down that road. And in a long time from now, 2, 3, 4 years, you will still remember my name. And you will deal with
whether or not I remember your name is irrelevant. We're not.
So
like I said, I'm not sitting here to be threatened.
It's not a matter of being threatened.
That's exactly what you're doing. If you want to sit down and negotiate and talk about what we're doing here, I'm more than happy to, and I'm more than happy to come to a settlement. But I'm not going to sit here and be threatened for an hour.
You're making fun of me in my face by saying that because somebody smoked next door to you, or there was something irregular in the lease, or whatever the case may be, you want $50,000, $80,000. That's bullshit.
Nobody's making fun of you. Nobody's mocking you.
Asking
all I've done,
if you want to, at the end of the day, live in a nice apartment,
if we're going to
sit
here and talk over each other,
everybody's.
This isn't.
No,
this
if
is
you
gonna,
let me
this
finish, then we
be,
won't have to talk over.
I do wait for you to finish, and then I speak, and then you talk over me again. So if we'd like to have a discussion, I'm more than happy to have a discussion, but I'm not going to sit here and talk over each other for an hour while you threaten me. We've spent a year trying to get this fixed. We've been more than patient. That's a handful of the issues. I'm happy to go over each and every one of them in detail if you'd like.
No, I don't.
Okay, so...
Unless you think it's going to change my mind.
Whether or not it changes your mind doesn't make a difference.
Okay? I'm here ultimately to make money.
Sure.
Unless, of course, when that's out of the equation, it becomes an ego game. Okay? Who gets the better? That's all it comes down to.
Sure.
There's a small window if you want to talk to me something that makes sense to a businessman. Okay? I own and manage hundreds and hundreds and a lot more than that apartments. I know this game very well. I spent a lot of time in court. Now, years ago. I don't go down to court a lot these days.
Sure.
I know the drill very good.
Sure.
Do you have a chance of riding it for a while? Absolutely. Until it goes to the next level. Then you get wiped out before you know what your name is. And I will take it. I guarantee I will take it there. I'm not the type to walk away and take a settlement at the end down the road.
It sounds
if there's a settlement to be made, it'll be made now. And it'll be very, very reasonable and rational, taking into consideration that at the end of the day, if you don't like the place that much, why don't you just pick your stuff up and leave? Because obviously you like it. You want to hang in here. You want to stay for another year, but you don't feel like paying rent. That's the one thing. Are you going to talk over me or are you going to let me finish?
Go ahead, finish.
Okay? If you feel like sitting here and taking another year and hanging in, and all you want to do is exploit whatever irregularities or whatever the fuck you have in the lease, that is not flying. You don't like it? You don't like the place? Take your stuff, leave. I'll give you a month. I'll give you whatever you know. We can work this out. You want to stay? You pay the rent. You think I owe you something for some hassles you had? We can talk about that too. But don't come here and tell me I'm going to like the place. I'm going to sit here. I just don't feel like paying rent. And I have a long list of why I'm going to do that. That is not fine. So either you tell me I just miserable here. I want to get out. And I don't think I should pay you back and whatever. Or you tell me I'm sitting here. I'm paying rent. I won't play again.
Computer's working?
Yeah, you gotta give me a few minutes, okay?
What?
Give me a few minutes, please.
I just want to check something out.
2 minutes. Which one is it gonna be?
May I?
Yes, please.
Fantastic. Whether or not we're sitting here doing whatever, you're sitting there with conjecture. None of that. This is entirely based on your opinion. Whether or not you think it's relevant doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't make a difference to the court. It doesn't make a difference to me. At the end of the day, those irregularities are really just a drop in the bucket. Those are the minor issues. Those are the ones that are easy to point to and say, well, clearly they couldn't even get the lease right. Look at the rest of the things. The rest of the stuff is much more serious. When you're talking about an inconvenience, that's one thing. What we're talking about is cigarette smoke entering the apartment, and that's been the major issue for the last year. We've asked and been incredibly patient. We've worked with people. We've talked to other tenants. We've tried to work this out as best we possibly can, and all we've gotten is stonewalled. We're not interested in sitting here and not paying rent, and your position that if we don't like it so much, we can just pack up and go. That's not up to you to decide, and it's our prerogative to stay. If that were to happen in New York State, which for the most part it does right now, because people like you have all the power, you say, if you don't like it, get up and go. That's not why tenant law exists. We have a right to remain in a place that is safe, and that is what we're paying for, okay? We have every last penny that we've withheld put aside. We're not making any money doing this. Every single month that goes by, we put another month into a separate bank account. It's all sitting right there. If we should lose, it goes right to you. I don't think we will, but we're doing that because it's the right thing to do, and because we have the means to do it. We're not looking to get a free ride. We're looking for you to do the right thing. And ideally, I'd really also like to set an example for other tenants in our situation who have no concept of what the law is like, because people like this management company, I won't put the blame on you because I know it's not your responsibility, but the management company completely shields them from any and all of their rights. Tenants in New York State have no concept of what their rights are, and they think they think there's nothing they can do about it. So people like them, maybe like you, can come into situations like this, sit down, throw a bunch of money around, and bully them.
Correct.
You're correct, I know. My prerogative is to stay in the apartment. We don't want to move. How often have you moved?
What difference does it make?
It's just a question. If you've moved often, the reason I ask, let me finish. The reason I ask is because moving is a very difficult, trying, expensive process. I've moved in New York. I've moved, I think, 8 times in the 7 years I've lived here.
Why is that?
Because I didn't like my roommates, because I wanted to move closer to my family, for any number of reasons. It doesn't matter. I don't like doing it. Nobody likes doing it. I want to stay in one place. Not to mention that rent in this neighborhood is going out of control because of things like rent stabilization law, which if we're going to be taken advantage of, we damn well better know our rights. Because you guys get the opportunity.
What's your name?
Mark.
Mark.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is this. You can list your rights and everything. That's all fine and well. I have no problem with that. What you're trying to do to me is sit here and say because my lease was not drafted the right way, or this or that.
No.
Well, why would you then say that your
the
lease
lease
was
is
if
one
you are
bit.
looking for a way? So why don't you say what the other issues are? Because
The smoking.
to me, it looks like.
Let me bring it up.
And you know, being in this business for as long as I could say when somebody has an issue and they want it dealt with, and when somebody just wants a free ride.
Of course. Have
and
you
to
seen?
me, it looks like the latter.
Of course.
I don't think you want to sit here and pay rent. I think you want to ride it for as long as you can, and then when you finally get your butt kicked, leave and leave a trail of habit. And that
I think that would be a fair assessment for you to make because you don't have all the information right now.
So why don't you film
So
it?
I don't hold that against you. What I'd like to do really quickly is just pull up the information that I have. Let's see. I also have some paper stuff if you'd like to see it, but let's go through this piece by piece. Why don't we? The lease stuff is pretty small compared to everything else. So this is one of the copies of the lease, if you'd like one to have a look at. Let's start with right off the bat. When we moved in, Jacob actually wanted 6 months worth of rent from us. Are you aware of that?
Why would that? Probably your credit is not as the way.
My credit isn't as good as my girlfriend's is, no. Do you think that that's relevant?
No, that's probably why they wanted to do it.
I understand that that's why, but that doesn't give them an excuse to break the law. So, we said no, that's ridiculous. We did want the apartment. We had stopped looking already at that point, so we went down to 4 months total. First, last, and 2 extra months. Okay? That right there is very clear violation of an overcharge. That's not just a tiny little thing in the lease some silly little irregularity. This entire lease is irregular if you want to go there because it's not a rent stabilized lease.
Points, or my question to you was very simple. Are you trying to show me why you think you have a case you're going to win? I don't really care much for it. You can win, right? I'll give you an okay right now.
So what do you want to know?
I want to know, do you want to pay your rent and stay, or do this bullshit? I know exactly what this is. I've been through this like a million times. You're not the first smart guy to show up. You know that.
Sure.
You got to know that. That, you know, a lot of people out there think they've studied the law, they went online, they printed out.
Of course
that's
not.
bullshit.
Sure.
There's a way to get through that. All you got to do is stay focused to the end, where I win and you lose. We get there. There's no question about that. I have a simple question to you. What do you want to do here? Are you moving out and walking, or are you staying here and paying the rent? Which one's it going to be?
No, neither of those two. We're staying here and we're withholding, as is our rights.
No.
So what you're saying is that because you have deeper pockets and you have more time and resources, that it doesn't really matter to you what we do because you're going to win at the end of the day. Does that sound like the spirit of the law? Does that sound like what it's supposed to do?
What I'm saying.
That's what you just said before.
No.
That you said it doesn't matter because you have deeper pockets. You'll take us to the end where you win and we lose.
Here's what I'm saying. Okay, and don't put my, words in my mouth.
Those are the words you used.
You do not get to hang out in a nicely finished building that you like forever without paying rent.
That's
I know
exactly
matches your T-shirt.
That's
I
exactly
know the idea matches your T-shirt.
That's
completely
irrelevant.
And you're just gonna ride it. It is relevant because
completely irrelevant.
It sure is.
It's completely irrelevant. What difference does it make what band I like?
If you think it doesn't.
Okay.
It tells me who you are and what you think you're gonna.
Because I like a particular.
Because you like.
Because I like a band.
Anarchy. Does that mean paying rent?
Anarchy, my dear, is the name of a record. What difference does it make? Are these the kind of arguments that are going to win court for you?
I'm just trying to tell you.
So why don't we just stay focused?
That at the end,
right.
Wall Street is there. Occupy Wall Street is not.
Sure. What's your point?
My point is, if you're going to sit here and pay your rent, you want to enjoy the apartment, pay your rent.
If you want, listen. If you expect me, no, listen to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to talk over you, but listen. If you're going to sit here and tell me to pay my rent, then if I'm going to sit here and tell you, if you want me to pay my rent, you need to do what is required of you by law, and you need to do the right thing. You need to do the things that you're saying that I'm paying for. At the end of the day, when the warranty of habitability is breached and we're exposed to cigarette smoke, which is dangerous, which we have every right not to be exposed to, you're not doing your job. When we have an air conditioner that through the entire summer months does not work and doesn't go under 81 degrees and humid in the apartment all summer, that's not what we're paying for. If you want to sit here and tell me that if you're just because there's a roof there, you're right, and I'm not asking for a 100% abatement. That would be ridiculous. I'm asking for numbers that are perfectly within reason for the things that we have been told that we're getting that we're not getting. On top of the fact that there was money taken from us, we were overcharged, that shouldn't have happened, and that we're exposed to cigarette smoke. It's not rocket science, and we're not looking to take advantage of anyone. You'll notice that it took until September for us to even start doing anything about this. We were patient from the months of February to September trying to get this resolved.
Mark.
But nobody wants to do anything about it.
Mark.
So if you're going to sit here and bully me for half an hour, then I don't know why we're having this conversation. Because you sat down.
Mark, simple question to you. Do you have long-term plans?
Of course I have long-term plans. Of course.
Take me into consideration.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
So you don't even want to talk about a settlement. That's not even a thing you want to talk about.
Not in the number, no. If the game you want to play is going to give you $50,000 after living a year in a building, no, we're not talking.
The number is, I believe the number is, well, what we're looking at right now, what I told Jacob over the phone is I'd be happy to go down to 10 months starting May, which would put us in March, I think, or April? Yeah, March, which would put us to March. So that's a total of 10 months. I don't have the math done here, but so it's 10 months. So it's 2850 times 10. So whatever that would amount to. And that's for all of the months that we've been affected. In addition to, we want the things that we want to change, changed. You don't think that that's unreasonable, do you? You don't think it's unreasonable that a tenant has a right not to be exposed to cigarette smoke, do you?
I'll tell you what I think.
That was a yes or no question. Do you think it's unreasonable now?
It's a very simple answer, and if you don't let me answer, I will.
Sure. I mean, it's a yes or no question, so it's a very simple answer.
So everything has a yes or no question?
No, what I asked you is a yes or no question. Do you think it's unreasonable?
I don't want to answer yes or no question.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Do you think it's unreasonable?
I'll answer your question.
Okay, answer the question.
I collect rent from hundreds and hundreds.
Irrelevant.
You can let me finish?
If you were going to answer the question, sure, but that's irrelevant.
There's a small percentage of smart people like yourself. They're not about getting things right. And they're never about sitting in an apartment and paying rent like everybody else. You're not the only person to live in this building. If everything was that bad, I'd probably have a long list of people.
You're not answering the question.
The answer to your question is, I take you for what you look to me to be, which is somebody who wants to ride it free. And
I don't want to ride it free. I want to fix the problems.
We will play this game for a year or two. And I will.
Why do you think that I want to ride for free?
Because if you want to sit in a building and say, I want 10 months free because somebody smoked next to me, that's bullshit.
So answer the question. Do you or don't you think it's unreasonable for me to expect that we have a right not to be exposed to cigarette smoke?
Absolutely reasonable.
It's absolutely reasonable. You would probably also agree that the law would uphold that too, wouldn't you? Because it does. So for you to stand here and tell me that it's bullshit, that I want to have my rights protected, so what you're saying is that it's bullshit that I want my rights protected because I have a right not to inhale cigarette smoke.
You drive?
Of course I drive.
Okay. If you get a seatbelt ticket while you're parked on a roadway, stuck in traffic, have you broken the law?
Of course.
Still bullshit.
It's still the law.
A cop trying. Yeah, it's still
the law.
Having the law on your side doesn't make you a gentleman.
Doesn't matter whether or not it makes you a gentleman. It's still rude.
You can be a freeloader.
You know what else isn't illegal?
Let me finish?
You know what else isn't illegal? No, not right now because you've talked over me enough. And your points are completely irrelevant. What you're saying is that just because it's the law, if you think it's bullshit, you don't have to follow it.
I'm saying I don't have to follow it. I can say that you
then we're on the same page. Then we're on the same page.
You are a freeloader trying to exploit the law that will prevail in the smaller courts.
If I were trying to exploit the law, I would have started doing this in February when we moved in. I would have stopped paying rent immediately, but I didn't. And I wouldn't be withholding all the rent and putting it into a separate bank account for you.
I think it was also this conversation.
Well, I don't think you were interested in having a conversation to begin with.
I came here and I took time out of my schedule to get an understanding for what this case is about. And we'll deal with it accordingly.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
Neither am I. Alright.
Yeah, so you have an offer on the table. You can do 10 months right now. We can finish this, fix the problems, and we're done.
No thanks.
I do appreciate that you've acknowledged that all of our arguments are relevant, and you have acknowledged indeed that you broke the law. So that's fine.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes.
I do very much appreciate that you've acknowledged the fact that you have broken the law.
You have a thing of putting words in my mouth, which I haven't said.
I have it all on tape. It's fine. We can go back and listen to the tape together if you want to. That's fine. You've acknowledged the fact that you have broken the law and that to you it doesn't matter. We've been very clear. I've been very clear to you about the law here. Did you or did you not say that it is not unreasonable for me to expect?
I said that. I said
right.
You can be
and you acknowledge that it is indeed the law.
That's fine. That's all I said.
Whether or not you think I'm a freeloader or not doesn't matter to me.
It matters to me.
It doesn't matter to me because I have rights.
Good luck.